Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are Too Complex. We got a real good episode for y'all today. But before we get into the content, as every week, need you to like the video, subscribe to the channel because we almost there. Y'all almost got in 1 week. Y'all almost got us to 500. So make sure y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button again, and also hit that notification
bell. You can't hit it again.
I mean. Y'all,
the new people gotta hit it.
The 99% of y'all that ain't hit it yet, go ahead and hit it.
You can't. At 99%, I would hit our button multiple times. Subscribe.
But the 99% of y'all that haven't hit the button yet, go ahead and hit it. It's free. Don't cost you no money. And you can always leave it later if you want to. It don't matter to us. You know what I'm saying? We just doing it for the fun of y'all. We're doing it to make content for y'all, man, because it's fun to us. And also hit the notification bell so you miss none of these bangers that we drop every single week. D-Lo, man, last week was a good week, man. We back at it again, bro.
Back at it with another one, baby.
Back at it with another one.
I stole that from some YouTuber. I forgot his name.
Hey, listen, man. You know,
I would credit you, my dog, with it, but I forgot your name.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery, man. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's up, bro? How you been?
Man,
I can't say my boy because somebody we know keeps getting on me for saying my boy. So I might change up Gangy or something to be young again and whatnot. I don't know.
Nah, you can't do that because I said something in text earlier and you was like, what the fuck is that? Nah, we old now.
Yeah, we old, bro.
We old now. It's all good. Right. We got to embrace the wisdom, bro.
That's the goal of life, to grow old. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen. Hey, pardon my wisdom, but we old. You feel me?
Yeah. I see what you did, bro. Yeah, I see what you did.
And reeling me in a little bit, you know, it's a little nostalgia type shit.
Yeah.
But nah, man, the week has been good, man. I mean, I'm into the depths of the job now, so it's getting interesting in the sense of I'm back into the sales realm, and it's so different from the way things were done when I was selling cars to how it's done now selling insurance. Nigga, is different. And it's
more
crazy.
Strategic.
That not necessarily, because in a sense, it's kind of the same as far as how I'm pitching insurance the same way I'm pitching cars. I'm just trying to make sure I, number one, build a relationship, make sure they like me, because if they like you, they're gonna buy from you. That's the number one rule in sales. Get them to like you, they'll trust you, they'll buy from you. That's number one. So I'm doing that, but it's just different lingo, and it's so much more. It's a lot more that goes on with insurance. Cars is cars. You know what I'm saying? People gonna like what they like, but insurance, you got to have so much more information and so much more knowledge to give to the person that you're pitching to. Like, this is what you have. This is how I can change that and help save you money, type shit. And then you'll say you'll have the same benefits, but you know what I'm saying? We can do it in a different way to save you money, get money back at the end of the term, yada, yada, yada. So it's a lot different, but my pitch in selling myself is the same. It's just I got to get the information about the actual product that I'm selling. And once I learn it, sky's the limit, bro. Because I was telling my lady a couple weeks ago before I even started selling, like, yo, there's no way it's this easy. Because I was sitting there watching people like pitch and sell to people. And I'm like, there's no way it's this easy, bro. And the more that I do it, the more that I realize that, it really is. I just got to learn the information.
You have to have insurance of some kind. You know what I mean? So people need, it's just about what can you offer them, and what, for the money they're paying, what are they getting from it? So if you are comparable or cheaper, they'll more than likely go with you.
And that's the biggest thing too, is the biggest hurdle that I'm seeing right now is if they already have insurance, how do I get them to cancel that? Come to me.
Yeah.
But it's all about, like you said, in comparison, what do they have and how are we better? And how do we offer better ways to help them with everything else that goes into their benefit? So it's a little bit different in that sense. But other than that, everything is great. Sam is great. She well, I'm gonna talk about it because I'm transparent. So Sam is, I think I already talked about this on the show one time before. At least I talked to her about you. She's not thinking about going to college. She's not worried about going to college.
Right.
And my degree is in math. I have a degree in math, which is kind of off-putting a little bit. I am good at math, but I played 2 sports in college. Couldn't really keep up with computer science, which is what my original major was in college. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but so my original major was computer science and IT, but I couldn't keep up with it because I was playing 2 sports, so I couldn't sit down in enough time to sit and try to code, and it was hard as hell. So I ended up
decisions, bro.
I'm telling you, I ended up taking my minor and flipping it to my major, and I had so many credits in computer science that I had already completed the minor side of computer science. All I had to do was focus on math. So I got a degree in math. That's a long way to say I got a degree in math. Sam is in 10th grade, and she's in algebra 2 now. And I'm going through it and I'm helping her with it. And math is so different from when we was in high school. Nigga. Oh my God.
Listen,
it's ridiculous, man. Dude. It's ridiculous.
All the way from top to bottom.
From top to bottom is so much
high
different.
school to elementary school. I'm going to let you finish, but then I'll get into my experience with math and all that.
But she's thinking about dropping the class. And I'm like, well, why? You're not doing bad. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, well, my grades fluctuate and I don't really feel the way I feel about my other classes. She's got classes like chemistry and stuff. There's other hard classes that she gets excited to go to, but she doesn't get excited to go to algebra. And the fact that she's not thinking about going to college, not worried about going to college, which is cool because, people are in different trades and, different ways of making money in this day and age than it was back when we was in school. Because you needed a degree at some point when we was in school.
Yeah.
So she doesn't need the class because it's only giving her college credit. She doesn't need it. And she's not thinking about going to college. So she don't need the class. So she's thinking about dropping it. And I was like, well, this is
wait, hold, before you get too deep. If she does she need what math classes does she need to graduate though?
She apparently she's already taken them. If they're giving her the option to drop this one, I don't know, honestly, to be perfectly honest.
Okay,
I don't know. But apparently she's already taken the math classes that she. Oh yeah, facts. But Sam is very strategic in the things that she does. She's a very, very smart young lady. So she knows what she needs to do before she even brings me an issue. And she already has a plan together to say, this is what I plan on doing. What do you think? Type of shit. So we have that type of relationship. So the main reason why is because she doesn't get excited for it and it stresses her out. Like, okay, well, this is life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if algebra 2 is stressing you, my nigga, then life is worse than algebra 2. So if you can get through this stressful class in high school, then this is a life lesson for you to be able to manage your stress and fight through it and learn from it. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, Dad, I get it. But so she had like a list. She was punching off text messages. I'm like, God damn. I said, so you got a plan already, man. All right, cool. So but she's so smart. She's so intuitive, man. And it's just like, it's from what we've been seeing in the world today, like, all this sexy red and, these young kids being into a lot of different things. And the fact that I see my daughter, not that person, sometimes I got to give myself a pat on the back because even though for the first, for the last 10, 11 years, I was kind of at a distance, I was still very, very active. And I was still a integral part of my daughter's life to the point where she has turned out to be the young lady that she is now. And I'm like, oh, like, I've done a good job. All the sacrifices that I've actually made, I've done a good job with. She's right here. Come here, Sam. Come here real quick. Too complex exclusive. Too complex exclusive.
Sam.
This is the 16-year-old young lady that I talk about every single week. And this is my baby right here. But what you doing? Anyway, but yeah, so it just it's just a testament to like the way that I parent and things that I do to see this young lady be such a great person and be able to make the decisions that she makes, man. And it's amazing, man, for real.
Yeah.
But what was you about to tell about? Yeah. What's going on with the math on your end, bro? Because Niecy is in what, third grade?
Nah, she in second grade.
Second grade, okay.
The way they teach them math nowadays and how to get to an answer is so like for me, it feels like they do a lot more to get the answer that we would have gotten by the way we were taught back in the day.
Right.
And I know, it's more than one way to skin a cat, and kids learn differently. So you teach them different ways of getting an answer. But when she comes to me asking how to, because I didn't major in math, and I was not really good in math per se. Like, I understand math very well, but I think I was just, you know me, bro. Back in the day, I would always pass.
Yeah.
Because I would do what I need to do when I needed to do it, but all that stuff before and in between is like, man, I'm whatever. I guess I was mentally lazy, you know what I mean? But my dad kept his.
We all are at some point, but that's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad, I was lazy. We had that conversation last week.
Yeah. There you go. Because you're smart. You smart. Obviously I'm not lazy, so it's cool.
My dad kept his foot on my neck. So then, like, I would always do what I need to do at the end to pass and whatnot, get a good grade.
Yeah.
But anyway, so long story short, the math and how they learn how to add and subtract, like they break it down into tens and then the ones. And so they add the tens together first, and then they add the ones together. Yeah. And then they bring it together. And it's like, why would you teach them like that? So, math is way different.
Way different. But you know what's crazy? Not that you
let alone she's learning it in French.
Oh, that, yeah. Oh.
So we got to translate with Google Translate and all that stuff. So
I know that's
wild.
It's
a little bit of frustration going on. It's funny
you say that because I do that now. I do that now though, because like whenever I see two numbers, I literally in my mind take the ones off, add this together, and then add this together. I do that now. But the level of math that I had to put myself through in college is crazy, and the fact that. And the fact that, history of math, finite math, probability and statistics, and all of these classes I had to take to get my degree. And it's funny that as of right now, the only thing I'm using is 1 + 1, 1 times 1, 2 times 1 divided by 1. All I'm using is add, subtract, multiply, divide. Which is cool, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why my daughter was like, Dad, I'm never going to use these functions in life. Like, I'm never going to. And she understands. She understands that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's true. You won't use those functions in that type of math, the algebra 2 and beyond in life in general. But you said something there earlier. Like, math in school really is, like, we don't see it when we're young, but as you get older, you kind of piece it together and try to make sense of what school was. Right. And in my opinion, math is a way in which you have to learn to take a situation, dissect it for what it is, and then come up with a solution for how to get the results that you want, right? That's what math is. That's what algebra 2 is. It teaches you to take whatever you have, whatever the problem is, the equation is, work with a formula, come up with a formula for how to solve the answer, and then do it, and that's your answer. Show your work, there's your result. School is the same. School in general is the same thing. We don't like it, but you go through these different classes, and it teaches it now. Conspiracy theorists would also say it's like it's institutionalizing us and preparing us to be workers and not leaders and stuff like that. Yep. But it serves its purpose as well. So but math in general, speaking more so of what you were talking about earlier, to me is a way in which helps us to understand different things of how to get results in life, even though we won't really use the actual theories in most of the jobs that we'll take on for in adulthood.
Very true, man. And I'm just glad that she has that wherewithal to say, I might not need this, so let me see what Dad thinks. And she comes to me and she actually talks to me about it, and I appreciate her for it, 100%. Right. So but see, that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you this week? What happened? How was your week this week, D-Lo?
And this week was rough. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's still good. Still spending time with the family. Still doing all of that. But it was more so rough because, like I said last week, we all were sick the week before, the Thanksgiving week. So getting back into the swing of things when you've missed a full week of work, missed a full week of school, it's tough, you know, because we were staying up all times of the night and doing stuff like that, right? We were sleeping, but we were also staying up because we were sleeping throughout the day. So then getting back into the schedule, back into the groove of things, it's like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like waking up to wake up the little one to get her ready for school, and she don't want to get up and fighting with her. You know what I mean? So it's like it was just tough this week. You know, finally Thursday kind of felt like you were getting back into it, but it's like, man, I'm tired from working the week. You know what I mean? So now it was challenging this week. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, we get through it, and we've gotten to this point. Like I told you earlier, we are preparing to do family pictures for Christmas tomorrow with Santa, and the little ones are excited. The youngest, all he talking about from Thursday on was going to see Santa, so on and so forth. So excited to see how he interacts when he actually gets in the presence of Santa. But you know, other than that, no complaints. Always spending time with the family, which we'll talk about. You mentioned sacrifices you made for your kids. I always talk about spending time with the family, even kid.
You
kid,
pluralize
yes.
that. I
did.
For what I know,
I did.
That's the only one.
I did. You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize for my outburst. But you know, we'll get into a topic later on today where kids and spending time and the trueness of a situation came to a heated argument.
For sure. Before we get into those actual topics, though, so I saw something on Instagram as I was, you know, doing research and trying to find topics to talk about this weekend, and one thing I don't know if you saw it, but one thing hit my timeline, and this says, bar for bar, who are you betting all your cash on? And it has 4 artists. One of them is Drake.
Okay.
Another one is Megan Thee Stallion. Another one is Kodak. And another one is Lotto. So out of those 4 people, if you had to bet all your money, your savings, your investments, your 401k, all your money, who you betting your money on?
Well, first off, I know the women of this last couple years have been like considered the hottest in the game and whatnot. Be 100% honest with you, I don't listen to any of them, and I'm not being discriminatory. I don't listen to them. I don't
like
listen
we said
to female
last week,
rappers.
Their money is their music is not for us. It's not for us.
I don't.
What they talk about rappers is not anything that us as straight men. No offense to who listens to it, but it's not made for us. So, but go ahead.
Kodak, I listen to here and there, but he really doesn't appeal to me too much. So, in a biased opinion, and just from what I listen to, it would have to be Drake. Now, I do know that Lotto recently did a cypher or something like that where she kind of spit a couple bars. And I know Megan Thee Stallion in one of her latest releases, she released an album, and the single that came out is getting a lot of push and a lot of praise for her lyricism in that, for her telling her truth, so to speak, of what she's been dealing with the last couple years. But I just don't listen to enough or consume enough of the other three's music to really give a true opinion about that. So if I had to bet all of my money and, you know, on a great decision, it would have to be Drake. And if I lose, I lose, but that's just what I know. So
for sure. And I'm on the same as you. I don't listen to,
even though we also know that Drake don't write all his stuff.
Very true. But a lot of it goes into, well, let me just get into what my decision was. I'm on the same side as you, where it was, I don't listen to a lot of Kodak. And for what I do listen to Kodak, bar for bar, he ain't beating none of these other 3 people To be perfectly honest with you, but people love Kodak because of his personality, what he talks about, where he came from, and he did get successful from it. So I do fuck with Kodak. I do listen to a little bit of Kodak myself. I hope so. Yeah, facts. But Megan, she is a really good artist. Lotto low key slept on because Lotto can flow, dog. Lotto. I don't listen to a lot of her either, but if I had to choose between Megan and Lotto, I would listen to Lotto because Lotto is more lyrical than Megan is, and Lotto also has a little bit more of a change in cadence in her music as well. Megan raps like the baby to me. They say the same person. You know what I'm saying? They're the same person to me. They, as far as how they rap and the cadence that they use in every single flow, they rap the same to me. But the baby is fire. You know what I'm saying? Even though he a clown in a lot of a sense of the ways, but I fuck with the baby. But if I had to choose one out of this group is going to be Drake. But Lotto is close because Lotto can flow, dog. Because I don't know where it came from for me, but it started. I started looking at a whole lot of freestyles and going from Sway in the Morning to LA Leakers to a lot of different freestyles here recently. Like when I'm just up and I can't sleep, I'll be looking at our YouTube channel, looking at the analytics, but I'll just be going through YouTube and I'll be seeing like a lot of freestyle. I'm like, yo, let me see how they flow. And Lotto, she was on Funk Flex and she did a freestyle. Like she can flow. Like Lotto is fire. And I know a lot of times freestyles ain't really freestyles most of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that they've already written or they already have in mind that they want to say, whatever. It's not fresh off the dome. But just listening to what she says most of the time, Lotto got flowed out. Lotto can flow. Yeah,
let me throw an outsider into this. And I don't really listen to her either, but I have seen a lot of her freestyles. And now I say it, I don't even remember her name. I just old girl from Wildin' Out, the redhead chick, the white.
Oh, you talking about Justina?
Justina
got bars too. Justina Valentine, she got bars too. Yeah, Justina got bars too.
Yeah.
I remember about a month or two ago, I suggested a topic of talking about her and how she don't get no respect in the rap game. But she's fire. Justina can flow too. I don't think she's better than Lotto in a sense. I think she has more of a, from what I've seen about Justin, I think she has more of a battle rap type of freestyle-y, more like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how commercial she would be, but Justina can flow though. Justina got bars. But Lotto was good though. Lotto's good.
Yeah, well, I would pick Drake just out of pure ignorance of the other three. I don't know much about their music other than what's on the radio. I've listened and invested time into Drake's albums and dissecting that. Even though we know he doesn't write most of his stuff, but we know a lot of artists, rappers these days don't write most of their stuff, and it comes from a ghostwriter. But because they're the face of a brand of a record label, you know, they get the option to get the best writers, and you know, it's a collective. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's a collective collaboration. It's a big collaboration. To make the artists who they are these days. So especially when they get to a certain level.
But like you said, unbiased opinion, I'm picking Drake too. But Lotto, if Drake wasn't on that list and it was somebody else, I would probably pick Lotto. No bullshit.
Yeah, but doesn't help. Drake she's nice to look at too.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get in trouble for saying that, man. I mean, we got eyes, dang.
Yeah, I know.
The way you said, you was like, agree. Like you was hesitant to say it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, come
I agree
on,
with
man.
you. I
apologize to your lady. I apologize to my wife, but I mean, listen, we got eyes. They know. They ain't silly now. They look at other dudes too. Come on now. Anyway, so listen. Black people don't have enough money, man. We don't own enough stuff in this world. Yeah, this is what the controversy I was going to talk about. We don't own enough stuff in the world because, like, apparently a couple weeks ago or last week, something like that, Elon Musk made some perceived anti-Semitic statements, and they tried to cancel him.
So is that
but
why he was? Is that why he was cussing everybody saying "go fuck yourself" when they was taking their ass off of X?
Yeah.
I was wondering why that
Okay.
was, but I ain't put a lot of thought
Yeah.
into it. Go ahead. My fault.
So yeah. Okay. So we about to hit stride right here. So they tried to cancel him or are trying to cancel him, but because of who he is, because of the stuff that he owns, the type of money that he has, it's not easy to cancel him.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, Ye again said some perceived anti-Semitic stuff, and they got rid of him quickly because he was a billionaire, but he didn't own anything. He was partnered with people that helped him look like he owned stuff, but he ain't own anything.
Right.
So is money the ultimate protector for allowing you to have that freedom of speech to say whatever you want to say?
I wouldn't say it's the money per se, because just because you got money, again, don't mean you own shit. So it's what what's the word I'm looking for? It's right on the tip of my tongue, bro. It's your assets that you have, that you own.
Yes.
Not the money, it's your assets. So with him having so much money in his assets that he owns, he has power because he has leverage.
Yeah.
Kanye, being a billionaire, didn't have leverage because he didn't own any assets. But it gets into another conversation though, D-Lo, and I'm gonna take this a little bit further. I'm gonna switch gears real quick because we got this whole thing going on with Josh Giddey, right? And I'm not trying to make this a racial thing, but I think this is where this is about to go, and I apologize if it does. I'm sorry. This is
we don't like to be racy, but we don't want to be racy sometimes.
But with the coverage that they're giving Josh Giddey all over the sports media is for allegedly doing what he did. We ain't got to talk about it, but y'all see it. And the coverage for him and the way that the coverage for him is similar to what they're doing to Elon Musk in the fact that they're trying to cancel him. They're trying to say things, but they really can't. But the coverage that they gave Kanye and Ime Udoka was totally different in the sense that they were trying to cancel them. They damn near canceled Kanye, and Ime was getting slandered all over the place. So it's like it just seems like there is, you know what? Nah, but yeah. So I didn't particularly know exactly why Elon said what he said. Like, go, you taking your ass. Okay, whatever, go fuck yourself. I don't care. And they trying to cancel him. I didn't exactly know. So he said something anti-Semitic. I didn't know that. That's or something kind of, I guess, right?
Yeah. So I need to look at it exactly for what it is now. I just know and have heard that he may have said something anti-Semitic on X, which is formerly Twitter, that he owns now.
One of his assets.
So it's exactly. And so it's been like a big backlash for that, or at least trying to backlash him. But then him saying whatever he said yesterday has kind of flipped the removal of ad dollars from his platform, and people have left another company's streaming service, Disney, supposedly in droves because of they feel like they tried to blackmail Elon Musk. So I guess that'll be my research to come back. That'll be my research to come back with next week. Is what exactly did he say? Because I don't know. I just know that like they tried to cancel him, but flip this time.
But back to what you asked though, like, nah, I mean, and that's very true. Like, there is a lot of people who have a lot of money but don't have assets, and the fact that Elon is very, very rich, don't get it twisted, he's a very wealthy person, but a lot of his money is in assets. Like, a lot of his money is in Tesla, a lot of his money is in X, a lot of his money is other places, and it's not just, oh, I got $1 billion in the bank. Nah, I got $1 billion in assets. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and if he was to sell those assets, he would have that in the bank. But what a lot of people don't understand is that your assets are worth more than your money, because your assets build wealth. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you just having that $1 billion in cash, having $1 billion in cash is not as much as having $1 billion in assets, because those assets are going to continue to build. And that cash is going to continue to, if they're good assets, correct. And that cash is going to continue to dwindle. So one is going to continue to go down, one is going to continue to go up. Or
valuable
like
assets,
said,
I should say.
Valuable assets. Valuable assets
assets
is going to continue to go up, while that cash is going to continue to go down. So that's why there's a lot of rich people in the world, is that they're in assets. You can be wealthy and not be rich. Or is that flipped? You can be rich and not be wealthy. Is that what I'm trying to say? Okay.
Yes.
You can be rich and not be wealthy. There's a lot more rich people in the world than there are wealthy people in the world. And me and D-Lo, we try to be wealthy. So hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, you feel me?
You feel me?
Good ad right there.
Nah, for sure. But another thing before we get into the topics, man. To the actual episode.
No, we got plenty more.
Oh, we got plenty more. Oh, well, let's get into it. So I was on YouTube throughout the week, and I noticed, we all know about the Keke Palmer Darius Jackson situation. And how she's going through this whole, DV situation with Darius Jackson, that she claims that it's been going on for over a year now, and yada yada yada. But I came across a video on YouTube where Keke is hosting a podcast, and she has Darius and her mom sitting beside each other, asking them questions about relationships and life and this, that, and the third. And to me, it was weird, because I'm like, okay, if this man has been doing these awful things to you over the past year and some change, and your mama has also called him out and talked down on him, you know what I'm saying, in the media. But a couple of months ago, you were on this podcast, hosting this podcast, asking these questions as if nothing is going on. And again, it's not any of our business. You know what I'm saying? And maybe after that, it just got to a point where she was just tired of it, couldn't deal with it no more. So now I got to take action. I get that 100%.
Yeah.
But this is just me and my opinion. Again, me and my opinion. I know y'all be in the comments going crazy, but this is just too complex. D-Lo and Sticks, in our opinion. If it's me and somebody beating my ass, I don't want to do nothing with them. I'm trying to get away as soon as possible. If that's me, and I understand they got a kid, and they may have been trying. She may have been, or they may have been trying to make it work for the sake of the child, which is never. To be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't stay in the situation just because of the kid. If I'm miserable, I can find a way to co-parent. Fuck all that. But if it's me, bro, I'm not. If somebody is doing these terrible things to me, I'm not trying to be out in the public making it seem like it's all good and asking all these questions and laughing and kikiing and. No pun intended, laughing and kikiing and talking and smiling and having a good time with somebody that's behind closed doors beating I'm not doing that. So it was just weird to me that I saw that I came across that, because it wasn't not too long ago. It was maybe 2 months ago that they did this episode. And I was like, bro, like I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, if he's really doing these things, why are you kikiing with him with your mama, who was also talk shit about him on this podcast? Y'all got them. They were sitting close. Like, he was here, she was like right there. Like, they could damn near kiss each other. But they were sitting really close to each other, and Keke was on the other side just asking the questions. But I'm like, it was eerily weird to me. I don't know. I don't know if you saw it, but I just wanted to see, what do you think about that? Like, how do you feel about that type of situation happening?
So no, I did not see it, but two thoughts come to mind when it comes to stuff like this. You can't always believe what goes on in front of the camera. Like,
agreed.
This is a bad example, but it kind of ties in. Like, you and I, we do this podcast together, but we've had 25 plus years of history together, right? But realistically, nobody really knows outside of you and I, and maybe our significant others and the people that know us. Nobody really knows what our relationship is off camera.
Facts.
Right? So you can never really, because realistically, we could have started this podcast in good faith, but then, for whatever reason, something sours and our relationship dwindles, but we continue to do it because of what we set out to do, our goals. The goals keep us focused on what we look like and how we're perceived in front of the camera. right? So going back to Kiki and Darius' situation and the mom being included, you could put on a front for 30 minutes to 2 hours most in front of a camera to make sure that you get the clicks, you get the views, you get the money from a certain situation. But once that camera goes off, right back to reality.
Right back to fuck you, nigga.
Second,
like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second thought that comes to mind is, and it's probably gonna come off bad, but it is what it is in the situation, is that women, for whatever reason, not all women, but some women that are in abusive relationships, they will continue to hide that they are being abused, to continue to go back to the man because they feel like that's how love is shown to them. That's part of trauma from their childhood on, right, until the point that they're at now. So the trauma is what keeps her trying to perceive to the world that her relationship is normal. And so when Kiki is doing this only 2 months ago, and then last month, 2 weeks ago, she's filing for a restraining order against Darius, it's her trying to keep the relationship normal to the outside world, but dealing with all of the demons and all of the vices that they have on the back end of their relationship, hoping that it gets better. But I guess she got fed up with it, and now we're at the point we're at now.
Yeah. And I can see that. That's why I prefaced what I wanted to say prior to, because I was like, maybe, of course you get to everybody has a breaking point. And of course her filing for the restraining order had to be that breaking point. But it just seemed eerily weird. It was just like, yo, like this, if it's been going on for as long as you claim, then it's like, bruh, like, why are we sitting here acting like everything is hunky dory? But I mean, I don't know. It was just something that I came across. I didn't think it needed to be I did put it in our chat, but I don't think it definitely didn't need to be a topic, because I don't think it was going to be anything that we were talking in length about. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention to see what you thought.
Yeah. What else you got? You got anything else?
That was the last one. I saw something else funny on my story, bro. Did you hear how we all know the rapper Fat Joe, right? We all know him, Terror Squad, made some good songs, and he's a funny podcaster if you've ever taken his content, and he's actually very entertaining. But did you hear how he got his nickname Joe Crack?
No.
He sometimes he comes into the songs. He says Joe Crack the Dawn, you know what I'm saying, whatever, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that he got that from a history of, street pharmaceuticals. You know what I'm saying? But he came out in his most recent live, or his most recent podcast.
Please don't tell me it's because of his ass crack was out. Oh my God, dog.
He said
the plumber butt, pause.
That when he said he got that nickname from a young lady in high school, that because he used to sit in front of her in class, and every time he got up out of the chair, his butt crack was out. So she called him every day Joe Crack, because every time she saw him, his crack was out.
That's crazy, dog.
I was like, bro, that's got to be the funniest, because I used to listen to Fat Joe. Fat Joe was back in the early 2000s. Fat Joe, Terror Squad, they were fire. You know what I'm saying? And every time I heard him say Joe Crack, I'm thinking street pharmaceuticals. Dude from New York.
That's what it was. That was the era.
That's what it was portrayed. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But he finally came out earlier in the week and said, nah, it ain't got nothing to do with that. It's because my ass was always out.
That's wild.
And she gave him the nickname Joe Crack. Big pause. Yeah. Big pause. But that's just the funny thing that I saw. But what else you got before we get into the episode, bro?
So we've had an extensive history on Too Complex of talking about AI, talking about the future and jobs and whatnot. You worried about AI in the future. You should be worried about AI right now, because we live in an algorithm, bro. Everything a great example is before we got on, we were talking about something,
the cut system,
the cut system, and then it pops up on my phone.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Man,
the algorithm controls our life, bro. So I was going to ask you is, how do you feel about everything that you consume, everything that you think, and all of your interactions are fed to an algorithm? It doesn't matter the company. And then they put what you were thinking or wanting to look up and research in front of you within a matter of seconds.
It makes you nervous because it was literal seconds, bro. Me and D-Lo were talking about the self-cut system, and because D-Lo cuts his own hair, he's been doing it for what I remember about a decade now.
Yeah.
And
which is why I always wear hats too, because I always mess it up.
He's a liar, because if you take the hat off right now, you'll see waves and it's fresh and tapered. He's lying. But anyway, so we were.
I ain't taking it off though. But, I got a big forehead, man. You know what I mean? So,
but you light skin. I just play. Don't take
chill. Now you're going with colorism.
That was a joke. That was
running with the full racism today, huh? Damn, that's crazy. That's where we at now.
My bad. I apologize for my outvoice. But listen.
Yeah.
But it was funny because we were talking about it, and I was saying I need to learn how to cut my own hair and yada yada yada. D-Lo picks his phone up, and immediately, literally within seconds, the self-cut system ad was on his phone. So it's like, I'm about to tell you to send me that ad too, because I might actually get one. But either way, it's like, it's funny because sometimes it makes you want to like really not talk around your technology. Sometimes it makes you really want to take a break from technology and social media, because it's literally recording everything we say. And we're in such a capitalist society to where money is the ruler of everything. So the more they can make you spend, the better they think the economy is. And every time we talk about something, it's going to put something in front of you. Either it's a course, either it's some kind of item that you can purchase, some kind of sale that's going on. The more they can make you spend, the better that the nation thinks the society is. And it's like, I saw something a couple of days ago where Amazon is now and they're doing trials with AI robots now to do work in the warehouses. And I'm like, bro, like AI
that's old though. They've been doing that.
I guess they know I'm scared, so they keep reminding keep reminding me.
And that's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
and that's the point I'm trying to make is not only, so we gave the example of our brief interaction with AI and the algorithm right before the podcast, but not even that. So we talked about a few things in the last couple of weeks, more so like the Diddy situation and all that. I've gotten from doing research on that topic, I've gotten so many other perspectives and
confessions
about Diddy and all of that across all platforms, not just Instagram and stuff like that. So it's like, and that type of stuff makes you draw what you think is your own opinion about a situation, but it's really not. It's really the opinion being placed on you because of where you are in the algorithm and what they're putting in front of you. So it can be dangerous because we're also starting to get into an election cycle. And so you'll see all of this nonsense pop up about a certain candidate or, the views of why one person isn't fit to be in whatever position they are in the political system. And that makes you think you're forming your own opinion. But are you really forming your own opinion? Are you just going with what you see and saying, oh, well, this is what it is. Okay, I'm going to go based off of that. It's just crazy, man. We think we are making our own opinions about certain things, but really we're being guided in a certain direction. And it seems like that's what we came up with, but it's really not. I saw something else on Instagram that I'll send you. I can't remember the specifics of it, but they were saying, it was from a movie, I believe, and it was saying our point of view really isn't a matter of reality. It's just a matter of the perception of it. And the start of the video was saying how it was you were listening to something that you knew exactly what it was. You knew exactly what they were saying, but based off of what was on the screen, you were hearing something different. And it was saying the same thing the whole time. I have to find it and send it to you. It was crazy. And then he was saying,
you talking about the blue needle or the
I don't know what it was.
Or I think I know what you're talking about.
What it was.
I think I know what you're talking about because it was saying the same thing, but every time you looked at a different word, it would say that word, and then you would look at it again and look at this, you would hear this. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I've seen that before a couple of times.
Yeah,
and it is weird, but it's like, bro, like I'm that type of person, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'm not very, very huge on politics. If I'm being completely honest, I don't vote every single year because I don't agree with everybody every single year. So it's one of every election year that is. So it's like I'm that person that doesn't dig too deep into politics and will see something come up on my screen and then somebody asks me, well, what are you in? Well, I saw this the other day, so fuck it. You know, I'm that guy. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm that guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I stand, and this is probably the title of the podcast. This is why, well, not really. It's Stand on Business with the
Stand
Tiny
on Business. Stand on Business.
It's the Tiny T.I. King stuff. That's the title of the podcast. Yeah. But it's why I stand on what I stand on with. I don't believe anything that comes from the internet now. Like I have to really do research on it and better understand it before I can say, oh yeah, this is what the deal is. Which is why I was kind of hesitant to talk about that Elon Musk thing early, because I don't know specifically what he said, but I do know what I saw yesterday when he was like, yeah, whoever wants to blackmail me, whatever, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, you really have to be careful with what comes out of your mouth from what you see or what you hear on the internet and on social media, because it really could be just propaganda pushed on you and you don't even know it. You think it's real because of what you see.
I think we legit living in a simulation, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
We living in an algorithm is what we're living in.
That's better suited. That's definitely better suited for sure.
The last thing I have is, so we talked about Angel Reese last week, and she's back with the team. She played last night or 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
She released a post on Instagram and said, just make sure that the apology is as loud as disrespect.
The disrespect. Yep, I saw that.
I want to say to you, Angel, if you ever see this, that if something opposite of what we said comes out and is factual, we here at Too Complex will be the first to apologize for making any speculations of what went on while in your absence or why you were absent from the team. But until that time, I think we stand firm in our assumption of what happened, because you have to admit it's quite weird that you, star player of the LSU basketball team, just won a national championship, one of the highest paid college athletes, and one of the highest paid college athletes with the NIL deals and endorsements, second at your school behind Olivia Dunn, I think is her name, gymnast.
The gymnast, yep.
That you just aren't with the team and nobody's telling why. So we apologize if we have to. I don't think we disrespected you in any form. If you felt that way, or if you felt like people were piling on you, we'll apologize for that. But we were just giving our take on the situation because nobody really knows what's going on right now.
That's a fact. And again, yeah, just like D-Lo said, we apologize. And again, it was everything that we said and everybody in sports media and everybody in the world were doing was all speculation. And we weren't saying anything in malice. We weren't saying anything to tear you down or to put, throw salt on your name. We were just trying to figure out, hey, why is the best NCAA women's basketball player not playing? Is it because of what's going on? Is it because of Is it because of what's going on over here? Is it because of the NILs? Because we were just, it was all speculation. And if you ask the people in our comment section, if you see that video from last week, if you ask people in our comment section, we dumb. You know what I'm saying? If you ask people in our comment
and we
section
didn't
this week,
support. We didn't support Angel
you
before this,
no,
which is
bullshit.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
and we got
100%.
a couple of videos up on you, sweetheart. So if you feel like we were throwing something in your name, we weren't trying to do that. We apologize, but we definitely support you. You know, don't go read the comments because it's gonna piss you off because it pissed me off.
100%.
Don't go read those comments on that video last week because it's gonna piss you off. But Angel, just like D-Lo said, too complex. We apologize if you feel like we were doing this. And if anything comes out in retrospect of what we actually said and what actually happened, we sincerely apologize. But we were just giving our opinion and how we felt things were going on at LSU. So strong apology for sure.
Long small talk, but I feel like that was great.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was.
Into it.
So first thing, D-Lo, first topic of the day. So of course, we all know Beyonce had one of the greatest tours of 2023, which ended,
maybe all time.
Maybe of all time, between her and Taylor, but we're going to talk about that. But I think it ended in October. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay, bet.
I have a beehiver in the house, so yes.
You have a beehiver in the house. Yes, sir. And my lady's a beehiver too, so yes, sir. So you actually went to the concert. You said it was great. Your wife said it was great. My lady said it was great. And she recently just came out with the Renaissance movie of the tour. And of course, we both know that
wouldn't be an episode without you hitting that damn microphone.
It's always in my way, bro. But she before the movie even dropped this week, which dropped yesterday, right? It usually come out on Fridays. So before it even dropped, it debuted on Rotten Tomatoes at a 100%, which is perfect, of course. And of course, Beyonce has a habit of doing big things in the industry, the entertainment industry. So what do you think about this? Because whenever I saw it, I was like, because I'm not a beehiver, and not that I hate on Beyonce, but I was like, a movie of the tour being 100%, okay, whatever. But it's Beyonce, and the Beehive is going support. So would you have a beehiver in the house that probably wants to go see the movie after she even went to the tour? I'm sure she does. Of course. Yes. My lady was supposed to go a couple days ago, but she got sick, so she wasn't able to go. But she said she still plans on doing it. But she went to the concert. So how do you feel about this debuting on Rotten Tomatoes at 100%? And do you think that it is deserving of the opening day, $12 million, $25 million opening day in the box office?
So,
because you go to that movie, I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a date night, nigga. You going?
I know. It was discussed yesterday, and it was discussed yesterday. And I'm saying it was discussed yesterday again, but we also discussed it beforehand where I guess I misinterpret what she was saying, where I thought she was saying she wasn't going to go, but now it's, we need to do this and do that so we can, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm talking about you again, babe, on the podcast.
Don't be surprised if she introduced my lady too. Because and I invite my lady to y'all to go with y'all because she ain't get to go.
Well, they can go together.
They definitely.
So about the Rotten Tomatoes rating, I saw the Homecoming special that was on Netflix, and I know like they go into the backstory of how she comes to the performances and all of that. All that jazz for either her tour or in the Homecoming documentary, it was about the Coachella performance that she did. So I know they go into all of that, but realistically, this is, I don't know. To me, this is not movie rating worthy because really, like we said, the concert, I even said the concert was great. I don't hate on Beyonce. I like Beyonce. I definitely am not a beehiver. I don't think. Anyway, so I don't think it's.
Low-key, I ain't gonna lie.
Well, yeah, you obviously because of I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
You stupid.
I guess I am too then, huh? Right?
Yeah. You are now for sure.
For sure.
But anyway, so yeah, I don't think it's movie rating worthy because it's not technically a movie. It's a documentary, and they do rate documentaries that are released in the movies for Rotten Tomatoes. But like you said, it's Beyonce. If we're saying her concert was A1, why wouldn't the movie about the concert be A1? In the same breath, Taylor Swift also did the same thing with her Era tour, and it was 99. So and I think Beyonce was 100, right? Her rating was 100. Taylor's was 99.
Yep. And Taylor's was 99.
And I'm willing to bet Taylor has more fans than Beyonce, but they both have cult-like followings. Indeed. And so anytime you introduce those fans to a certain arena, as we saw with the peak of the NFL views when it was said that, or we know that they're dating now, but when it was first said that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were dating, those fans move needles. And so you said Beyonce's opening was 25 million. That's crazy. If it 25 million opening night.
It said is eyeing a 20 million to 25 million opening at this point in time in 2,539 theaters, where Taylor Swift, her start was at 11 to 12 million.
Okay. And so we know those fans move needles. Is that including the weekend or just the first night? Because if that's the weekend, that's kind of lackluster, if we're being honest, for opening weekends. Because I believe you want to have somewhere in the 75 plus million. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to say.
So I read that wrong. It looks like Taylor Swift's Era Tour's anomaly start of 92.8 million. So for her, it says for her to have a $20 million opening night is quite solid for a concert movie stateside. So yeah, opening night 2025 million. Yeah.
Okay. And so if she stays that route, then you would expect that she would be in that 75 to 90 million range first weekend. So yeah, then that's very solid. But that's the type of dollars you can expect to come into establishments or into entities, into industries when these type of individuals release content. Because people are going to go consume it because of their love for these individuals. So
indeed,
it's crazy, but I mean, what do we expect when you're talking about Beyonce?
Nah, that's facts, man, because like you said, bro, their fan base moves needles, bro. Their fan base moves needles for other industries. Just like Taylor moved the needle for the Kansas City Chiefs.
In the NFL.
In the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like in the NFL in general, because once her and Travis started dating, his jersey sales went up 900%. You know, ticket sales for the Kansas City Chiefs went up a couple of 100%. It's like their fan base moves needles, and it's crazy that you can have this much of a platform to affect the world, like literally the world. Like when you can affect different industries, you can affect the NFL, you can affect box office, you can affect music, you can affect clothing, you can affect all kinds of stuff. Your your platform is enormous, and that is just a testament to Beyonce and the work that she did to get where she's at, man. And I think it's dope, to be honest. At first, I can't say I was hating, but y'all gonna call me haters in the comments, so have at it. At first, I was just like, you know what I'm saying, like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, $20 million in the box office for a concert movie. I was kind of like, I don't see the correlation, but at the same time, you got to understand who Beyonce is and the following that she has. So I think it's dope. I think it's fire, and congratulations to the Beyonce and the Beehive, man. Because no, not the Beehive. Congratulations to you, Beyonce, and appreciate the Beehive for making it what it is. For sure.
Yeah. You're 100% correct though. I will be attending.
Enjoy the
against my will. Yeah, against my will.
He don't mean to stay.
But,
Yeah, he do actually. He do.
Huh?
I say he don't mean it, but yeah, he do actually.
I actually do mean it. Yeah.
Against him. But no, you just let her and my lady go together. She gonna you think she gonna because
I'm definitely going to try.
Yeah,
I'm going to try. I'll pay for it and everything.
There you go. Give her your ticket.
Yeah, you feel me?
Because she can go. They can go together. Because neither one of them seen it, so let them go together. Because I wouldn't want to go either.
Standing on
business.
I'm standing on business.
The facts. Because if it was me, I wouldn't want to go either. You know what I'm saying? Oh, get into it. Get into it.
King said, I'm standing on business.
Yeah,
and I mean that. You capping.
You capping.
So Sticks, last week at the Atlanta Falcons New Orleans Saints game, in a live video that's now going viral, King Harris, son of T.I. Harris, or Clifford T.I. Harris, and
Clifford is
rapper Clifford T.I. Harris, and his wife. What is Tiny's first name? That's crazy. I should know that.
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I just call her Tiny, to be honest.
Yeah, Tiny. Well, we need to look that up.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Address her appropriately. Tiny Harris gets into an argument with his parents over how he was raised. King claims he was never Tamika. Harris. I should know that.
I should have known that too. I actually did know that. Actually, I just go ahead.
King claims he was never raised with a silver spoon and is from the trap.
That nigga crazy.
I got two questions.
What is it?
How do you feel about this situation between King and his parents? That's the first question. And do you think King's actions were warranted?
First of all, that little boy crazy. Because him being 19 years, he's 19 now. Yeah. Him being 19 years old, he is his daddy's son. Because this T.I. Clifford, T.I. is where he gets this personality from but it's all personality. It has nothing to do with his environment. Just putting that out there. Because T.I. came from the trap. T.I. had to do, they were talking about in the video, you ain't ever woke up with roaches crawling on you and yada, yada, yada. You ain't from the hood. You ain't from the trap. You ain't never had to do this. They were talking about that in the live that King posted. But that's what T.I. came from. T.I. was actually in that. Now, moving on to King. King is a product of his mom and his dad's success. So with Tiny being with Escape and making those hits that they made throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, and T.I. writing for others, T.I. being the king of the South and his early 2000 success as a rapper, and still now as a rapper, now comedian, being a movie star, you know what I'm saying? Entrepreneur, there you go. Like, he is a product of his parents' success. And to say that now being born with a silver spoon is subjective, because yes, he was born into success, but having a silver spoon is a product of wealth, not riches, what we talked about in the intro. You know what I'm saying? And I can't sit here and say that I'm assuming that T.I. isn't wealthy. I know that he's rich, but I don't know what his assets look like. So I can't say that he isn't wealthy. But at the same time, it's like, if you look at the timeline of T.I. himself, now he might have assets, but I don't think he had that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Whenever he first got on. This is just my assumption, just my speculation. Don't cuss me out, but you're going to do it anyway. So go ahead and have at it. But in the sense of the word, was he born with a silver spoon in his mouth, King? Yes, 100%. But I to be perfectly honest with you, I see where he's coming from, because he didn't want to be behind the gates. He didn't want to live that lavish lifestyle. And I understand it, but at the same time, you can't sit here and act like you from the trap when you're not from the trap. You're not from the hood. He's not from the hood. But he's portraying this lifestyle on social media that he's such a thug and a gangster and this, that, and the third. And he talking about how he never lived at his mom and daddy house. He always wanted to go to his grandma's house, but that's because his grandma spoiled him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, King just has this persona about himself that he wants to be included so bad in that thug gangster trap. He actually said in the live, y'all want to go to the bando? Y'all want to see the bando? Y'all want to go to the bando? Like, he's excited. It's like exciting to him. It's not a struggle to him. It's excitement because he doesn't know what it actually feels like because of what he came from. So to answer the question, yes, he was born with a silver spoon. And to me, to be perfectly honest with you, he just put on a show. He's doing what a lot of young kids know to do today, and how to get fame and how to get rich is to go viral. And that's what he's doing. And he's trying to put on a persona that he's something that he's actually not. Because if I had to look at King, and if it actually came down to some real thugs, some real street, some real hood shit, King wouldn't be nowhere to be found. That's just my personal opinion. But what you think about it, bro? So
before I give my answer, I watched the Cam Newton Funky Friday Charleston White interview yesterday. Changed my opinion of Charleston White slightly, in his thought process. He still says it. So Cam said it throughout the whole interview. It's a lot of truth in what you say and what Charleston White says, but the delivery is what puts people off. And so his delivery is out of whack. But if you dig into it, it's a lot of truth in everything he says. So he said, kids that come from privilege or that come from a better situation than the little poor babies in the hood are enamored with hood life because of boredom. And that's exactly what you just said. Is enamored with the hood life because of boredom. Now, I will say this. I feel like absolutely King came up in a privileged life. He benefited from the success of both of his parents. Like we mentioned, R&B singer, writer Tamika Tiny Harris and her success, and the uber success of T.I. as a rapper, as a movie star, a comedian, entrepreneur, and Tiny's probably in some of those entrepreneur endeavors with Tip as well. Materialistically, he came from privilege. Now, when it comes from having the privilege of having his parents around constantly, probably not. And I think that's where the disconnect comes from, is because, and the resentment and this blow up, and all of these blow ups come from that we are seeing with King is, yeah, my parents had all of this. Yeah, my parents could provide for me, but I stay with my grandma. And the reason I stay with my grandma is because my mom and dad was always on the road, and they were on the road, so I never spent time with them. And kids, they try to make sense of what you're doing for them. They try to make sense of the money that you can provide for them. But the only currency kids really understand is time and presence. Yeah. You are a great example of that. You moved across the country to be present for your daughter. And she loves you for that, right? Yeah. That's the only thing kids understand is time and presence. And so, yeah, you in the same breath, finish that thought. I absolutely think he is privileged because of what his parents could provide for him, because of situations that he was in, materialistically. He probably is not privileged with the ability to have his parents around him as often as he would like. But in the same breath, and on the flip side of this whole argument, I think that successful parents that have to be away from the house and are trying to do the best that they can to provide for the kids, provide a better life, are damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if you're not out doing the best you can, if you're not out sacrificing the time away from the house to make the money, to provide the life that you want for your kids and for yourself, then when they don't get to have these things, and if they are in a less fortunate life, when they grow up, they're going to go down the same path that you're in now. It's like a ever changing, unchanging cycle.
Never changing. Yeah.
Yeah, a never changing cycle that they're in, right?
Yep.
Like what they see on a daily basis is what they'll grow up to attain and try to achieve as well. But if you are out, making a decent living, spending a lot of time chasing your dreams and doing the things you feel necessary to help the kids, then they grow up and resent you because you were never there. And it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you don't do it, then the kids may have a great chance. Their chances of them growing up to live the same lifestyle that you did are greater than if you are able to show them the different things in life and get them out of the situation that you grew up in and provide them a better life. So it's like, I understand both sides and why this situation is super complex. We could probably talk about this because it's very different nuances of the situation. It's like, I understand that part. I understand that part. The trauma, I understand. So it's just crazy.
Because all he's doing right now, all he's been doing over the past, I would say, since the pandemic, he's just been rebelling, honestly. And a lot of teenagers go through that rebellious phase, which is cool. I'm glad I haven't seen that with mine yet, but when it come, I'll be able to handle it because I understand. Because I had a little bit of a rebellious phase back in the day too, in high school, 10th, 12th grade. We all did. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that portion of it. And I also understand what you said too, Dan, if you do, Dan, if you don't, because if he wasn't out there providing for his family, then they wouldn't be, if he wasn't the megastar, if they weren't the megastars that they were, their family wouldn't have the things that they had. And then he would really be, then at that point, he probably would really be in the trap. He would really be from the hood because you're coming up on, what national average is for a salary every single year, $32,000-$40,000. So that is in a lot of places that is struggling. In some places it's living good, but in some places it's struggling. So it's like, but you weren't born into that. You weren't born into that median household income lifestyle. You were born in the upper echelon of earners, over the top 1% of people that earns in the United States. So you got to understand that although you're rebelling and you want to, you're intrigued by what the people from the actual hood, the po babies, as Charleston White said, you're intrigued by what they do. But it's like I said on this show a couple of times, it's boredom theory. You're bored, so you causing problems. You're bored, so you're creating things in your head that are not where you're from or what you have experience in. So you're bored. And I get it. It's cool, bro. Like you've had a privileged life and you haven't had to fight for anything in your life. You haven't had to work for anything in your life. So you bored. And I get it. But even when he talked about he was living with his grandma even had a big house, a mansion, basically, from Tiny and T.I. that T.I. was paying for. So you can't even really say that you lived at your grandma's house because even your grandma was in a nice house in a nice neighborhood. So you can't even say
true,
that.
Though?
Yeah, that's true. 100%.
Okay.
But according to
I asked that because I remember Tiny saying at one point in time during or after the recordings of their show that they had on VH1, Tiny and T.I. and Tiny's The Family Hustle, that she did say that King grew up in the hood with his grandma. I remember that.
So okay, and even King said that in the live was like there was a bando down the street from grandma's house or around the corner from grandma's house. That y'all want to go see the bando. And I mean, I guess in a sense that there is a different perspective of what
hood is,
and what it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't. He. Long story short, King ain't grew up in no hood.
Yeah.
Simple.
I think we can all agree on that.
We can all agree on that. But one question I wanted to ask you though, D-Lo, because I know you have a skepticism about what's on the internet, and you kind of got to look at things and say, is this real or was this to do? You know what I'm saying? So I actually took that thought process going into this because a couple of days after this whole debacle, they dropped the song. So I was like, was this whole situation just a publicity stunt for the song dropping, Father Like Sons, that dropped on yesterday? So Was this what that was for, D-Lo? Do you think? You know what I'm saying? Was it? I personally think it was a real ordeal that happened at the game, but it's just funny how it kind of rolled up to the release of the song and how they talked about it after that happened on that Sunday. So, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can go that route and have that thought process, especially because not only did they release a song, they also released a segment. I think it was called Goat Talk or something like that with Complex, not to be confused with Us Too Complex. But they also released that. So you definitely can go that, you have that thought process. I don't think that is the case in this instance, though. I just think like all of the trauma, the perceived trauma that King has placed upon himself, and he's not the only Harris child or the child of Tiny and T.I. that have came out and said that they didn't stay with them and it's not what you think it is. I think that perceived trauma has built up in him, and this is just one of the episodes that happened at an unfortunate time. It all started because they were playfully picking with him about growing up in privilege, and he was denouncing it. But then it kind of took a turn for the worse when they said the only reason you stayed with your grandma is because you wanted to suck on that pacifier until 12 and we wouldn't let you. Exactly. And then from there it went left, right? So I don't know if he felt like he was shamed by that because he was recording, and people might have forgot that, because again, you also remember that in the show, like he was always on pacifier all the time. He was. And so like I don't know if he was shamed by that, and so that's why he got upset or whatever. But I don't think like this was a publicity stunt for that. I could be wrong. It just doesn't seem like that, because King has had a history of doing things especially in the last 2 years or so, doing things that are kind of questionable. But I do also know that he's been trying to portray himself as a hood baby, because that's the type of rap that he wants to dive into, following the footsteps of his dad.
But that's the thing, though. How can you rap about and talk about something that you ain't never experienced? But see, you know what? I can't even say that, because
Michael Irvin's son did it, and Michael Irvin called him out on it. I mean, it's just what kids do. Jadakiss grew up in a damn private school, and his dad. We didn't know that until recently, when his dad was like, "Man, you grew up you went to a private school, and you rapping about this and that." Yeah, and I let you do it because of I never said anything because of what you were providing for us, but this is exactly who you were. You know what I mean? Right. So it's not beyond belief. This is what goes on.
That is true. That is true. You got a point. I can concede that, because it's like, because even we talk, you know what? I ain't gonna get into that because we're gonna have people talking shit. But it's just it's just funny. And like you said, we can go on and on about this all day if we wanted to. But to put a bow on it, from my perspective, he came from privilege, and I can understand why he would have these rebellious moments, because of course, he didn't live in the house all the time with T.I. and Tiny, because they were always on the road. They were always doing something. They're both stars, with T.I. being a megastar. So, they probably were at their grandma's house all the time, and they probably were outside a lot more of the times, outside of those gates, which is what King was talking about in that video. So it was like, I can get it, but at the same time, you were brought up with a silver spoon. You were one of the privileged kids. You were intrigued by the hood life, but you're not from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for you to be out here denouncing the life that you had, and trying to lead something different that you have no experience in, to me is crazy. But that's boredom theory for you. You feel me? So
yeah. And my final thought is what we're sold. It's what our culture was sold for so long, is that the Black community is all about hood, all about gangsters, all about drug dealing, all about that type of lifestyle. And so if something is sold to your community for so long, just like we were talking about earlier with the algorithm, if you're in that algorithm and that's all you know, that's all you see, that's all you associate with your people, even though it's not really sold to you as much as it was back in the day, the residue is still there. And so the
Facts.
kids nowadays want to continue to portray that life because that's the only way that they can get respect. That's the identity that they fall in line with. I mean, you got to think about it. When we was in college, I don't know about you, but we used to get in arguments all the time about how hood and how tough our cities were. The Florida boys would talk to the Georgia boys about where they come from. The North Carolina boy, the NC boys talk to the SC boys about how hard it was for them. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Girls only wanted to date dudes that had a hard image and got the respect. Dudes only got respect if they, it's just what's been ingrained in our society. And now that we're older, you look back on it, it's like, yeah, that's probably dumb for us to be enamored with that. But that's just what's sold to us. So I can't say that we would have done differently. We probably would have been differently. King's 19. He's trying to find his identity in the world. And right now, from what he saw growing up with what his dad was portraying to the things that he may see on a daily basis in the algorithm that he's in because of who he's trying to be.
The algorithm.
We're going to see this type of things.
The algorithm that he's in. That's facts. That's facts. But as long as King's standing on business, that's all that matters. But
standing on business.
Getting into the next topic, man. This is a kind of a sort, not, I wouldn't say it's a sore topic, but it's an interesting topic for me being a Cowboys fan. And I'm just before we get into the topic, I'm a very realistic Cowboys fan. I'm not one of those delusional Cowboys fans that says we're going to the Super Bowl every year. We're going to have a winning season. We're going to win. I'm not one of those guys. If we trash, I'm going to tell you we trash. I'm going to tell you we trash. I'm going to tell you we trash. You know
Bubba
what I'm saying?
Dub. I couldn't remember his name last week. Bubba Dub. Shout out Bubba Dub.
Shout out Bubba Dub. But I'm going to tell you they trash if they trash. So in the stretch of the Cowboys playing very, very well, and in the wake of Trayvon Diggs getting hurt, tearing his ACL, and Deron Bland having to step into that position as the number one now, as number one cornerback on the team on that defense, he is in the discussion of possibly being the defensive player of the year of the NFL. So if y'all don't know, he has 7 interceptions, 5 of them going for touchdowns. He is one of the most efficient corners in the league right now. And as far as, being targeted and how many people have caught the passes on him, I think it's looking at 39% as of right now. And as far as completions percentage going to his side of the field. And he is in this conversation with the Myles Garretts of the world, the TJ Watts of the world, the Joey, I'm forgetting the last person, but I'm gonna just say TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, who are the top vote getters as of right now for the defensive player of the year. So D-Lo, how do you feel about Deron Bland being in this conversation as defensive player of the year? And do you think he is deserving of it as of right now?
So I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Right. Yeah.
You know that I really don't put it this way. Looking at his stats, looking at his productivity on the field, and looking at the amount of the efficiencies, the completion percentages, and all of that, I think he has a strong case for being defensive player of the year, especially when you take into account not only does he have takeaways, which is where does that rank him as far as interceptions on the year?
I want to say he's number 1. Actually, I was wrong. He has 8 interceptions and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, 8 interceptions.
He did get one against the Seahawks. So I said 7, but he has 8. I forgot about the game 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he has 8 picks, 5 touchdowns, 5 of those going for.
So he leads the league in
interceptions.
Okay. So yeah, when you look at the completion percentage passes thrown in his direction or at him, when you look at the amount of interceptions that he has leading the league, and then you also take into consideration, not only is he taking the ball away, he's putting points on the board, has a very strong case for being Defensive Player of the Year, which would be a surprise to a lot of individuals because,
100%.
again, unfortunately, Travion Diggs went down, but Travion was that guy on that team. And then they also brought in Stephon Gilmore to be the number 2 guy and kind of like just lock up the field. So passing on them wasn't going to be the thing. And then you put into consideration Micah Parsons coming off the edge. So then it's like Deron who? But
right.
he's taken the opportunity that he's been given, which is why we love sports so much, is because opportunities are given left and right. You can be the last man on the totem pole, but if you're given that opportunity, have you prepared yourself to take full advantage of that opportunity? And in Deron Bland's case, it looks like he's been preparing for this opportunity to be who he knows he could be. Maybe the world didn't know. So I think he has a strong case looking at those numbers. And I'm not a Cowboys fan. I have no ties to the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever. But just looking at that solely off of the numbers, I think he has a strong case.
Yeah, because I actually went back and did a little bit of research on the last 3 cornerbacks that won Defensive Player of the Year. One of them was Stephon Gilmore, of course. So Stephon Gilmore, he won it back in, I don't have the year, but I'll look it up. He won it, but he had 50.
Like 2018, wasn't it?
I think it was
2017, 2018.
2000, he was with the Patriots for sure. But he had 53 tackles and a league-leading 6 interceptions, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. Deion Sanders won it back in 94. He had 6 interceptions, 3 of them going for touchdowns, and 41 solo tackles. Charles Woodson. 2019. Okay, bet. Charles Woodson won it back in 2009, and he had 6 interceptions and only 2 of them going for touchdowns. So, and I don't see it. It doesn't have his tackles on here, but needless to say, he was a good corner in his time. So, if we're looking at those stats alone, with him having more interceptions than the last 3 defensive player of the years that were corners, more tackles in the 12th game of the season, he's got, because Deron Bland has 54 tackles right now, and he's still got 5 games to go. So that for him having more tackles, more picks, and more touchdowns in the last 3 defensive player of the years that were defensive backs, I think he has a strong chance. But then you got to look at Myles Garrett. You got to look at Myles Garrett, who as of right now has 13 sacks, 32 tackles, which is good for a defensive lineman, number 1, at this point of the season. But then you got to look at TJ Watt, who has 13 and a half sacks, 41 tackles, and actually an interception too. So usually when you think about defensive
shout out
player,
AC,
shout out
who coaches the Pittsburgh
Steelers. For sure. So when you think about it, the defensive player of the year is dominated by the front 7, defensive linemen, linebackers. It's dominated by those guys. And I can understand it because, you know, whenever you're a defensive lineman or a linebacker or an edge rusher, somebody who is right there in the trenches, it's a little bit harder for you to get your job done. And if you're doing it at a high rate and at a great pace, then you deserve to have that defensive player of the year honor. And Myles Garrett is right up there at the number 1 vote getter right now. TJ Watt is number 2. So I think Deron Bland has a good argument because as of right now, he's 4th or 5th in the race as far as getting defensive player of the year. I think it's 4th. And I think he has a really good shot at doing it. He just has to keep this pace up. And if he continues to take the ball away and continues to score points for the team on the defensive side of the ball, I think he'll have a good chance to do it. But like you said before we started recording, if we want to talk about awards, we can go in a different rate, which I don't agree with Dak Prescott being number 1 in the MVP race because he's so annoying. But either way, getting back to Deron Bland, he's having an amazing year. He took the bull by the horns whenever Trayvon got hurt, took the bull by the horns and said, you know what, I'm going to be the number 1 corner on this team. And if you ask his teammates, and I was looking at doing research, if you ask his teammates, he's the quietest, he's like a D Rose on the court. Like he don't really show no emotion. He don't talk much, and he always says, "Man, if it happens, it happens." My number one goal is to get a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? If I get the Defensive Player of the Year, that's because my team, my front line did something well to give me the opportunity to get these interceptions. Like he's that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So I commend Deron Bland for taking the opportunity that he was given and making the most out of it. But he is looking like, if not the Defensive Player of the Year, definitely the best defensive back in the league right now. He's going to get that individual award, bar none. But Defensive Player of the Year, he has a strong argument for sure.
The last thing I'll say, and the funny thing about this situation is he is the if you had a picture in the dictionary of you think it's sweet over here, it would be Deron Bland, because
it would definitely be Deron.
The reason they brought in Stephon Gilmore is because people weren't throwing to Travion Diggs' side. Trayvon, I'm sorry, Trayvon.
Yeah.
Why I keep saying Travion? Trayvon Diggs' side.
Yeah.
And they were going away from him, and they were exposing the Cowboys on that side. But then they brought in Stephon Gilmore, and so it's like kind of evened out. You pick your poison. And then when Trayvon went down, it's like, okay, well, we just won't throw the Stephon side. Nah, you can't do that now. So I think, I agree with you. He definitely took the bull by the horns and put teams in a pickle. So if he's not defensive player, it definitely looks like he is
defensive back of the year,
back in the league.
Yep. For sure.
So Mikey Williams pleads guilty to one felony count of making threats. So in his plea deal, he has to attend cognitive behavioral therapy, gun safety, and anger management classes, as well as completing 80 hours of community service. If he completes all of this successfully, and it has no new violations to occur, the charges will be dropped to a misdemeanor. Also, after August 12th of next year, he cannot have any firearms in his possessions for 10 years. So, Sticks, you posed this question, so I'll push it off to you first. How do you think this will affect his endorsement deals moving forward?
Well, in as all this has been going on with Mikey, and yes, and you worded it a little bit different, and it's probably correct because I probably looked at it a little bit wrong. So I know it was reduced to 2 felony counts: one for making criminal threats, and one for personal use of a firearm and commission of a crime. And they carry a felonious charge of a total of 13 years in prison, but they're looking to reduce that to the counseling, the anger management, and the 80 hours of community service. And I thought that was after August 12th, because I know they're doing another hearing after August 12th, and they figure, this year is already gone. He already missed the first 7 games of the season. They just going to have this as a wash and then start over fresh after August 12th when they make their actual decision. But you're saying it's already been decided that he has to do these things to get it reduced to a misdemeanor?
Yeah, from what I read.
Got you. Okay,
from what I read is he pled guilty to that one count of making a threat, and then which, because of the firearm being in his possession, made it a felony. And then upon him completing those successfully and having no other violations, as far as whatever the case may be, it will be reduced to a misdemeanor.
Got you. And then after August 12th is whenever he has to have no firearms in his possessions for a decade.
Right.
Got you. Okay, cool. So back to the question. I just wanted to clear that up because I was kind of misconstrued on that. But as far as his NIL valuation, of course, before all of this was happening, his valuation was at like $3.3 million. He had the Puma thing. He had a couple other endorsements that he was doing. So from what I know, he's already lost those. From what I know. And
you gotta move that mic in a different location.
I got to, because I'm always. I just got to move it like either up a little bit because I'm animated. I talk with my hands,
or just get another boom or something. I
gotta bring it up. I don't know what I got to do, but either way, so he's already lost Puma. He's already lost a lot of his other NIL deals. So moving forward, if he's able to, I feel like since he's already lost these, he's down to ground zero from what I know. I don't know if he's got any other deals that he's still doing. I'm pretty sure he's got something with social media, with TikTok, Instagram, these things that where he's still making money. But as far as his big brands, he's lost. So moving forward, if he's able to go through the counseling, go through the anger management, complete the 80 hours of community service, keep his nose clean throughout this whole process. And after he completes everything and everything's dropped to the misdemeanor and his image is clean from this whole situation, I think over time he can build his prestige again to be able to get more NIL deals. And that just really just depends upon how he moves, because I've been following Mikey for a couple of years. Two Complexes has been following Mikey for a couple of years now, for at least a year now, because that's how long we've been in. That's how long we've been around. So from what I saw from his public perception, whenever he was in interviews, he was a very, very well-spoken, very, very knowledgeable kid. But outside of those interviews, Buddy was arrogant. Not gonna lie. But he had a lot of reason. I ain't gonna say he had reason to be arrogant. There's a difference between arrogance and confidence. But he was a very arrogant kid. If you saw the things that he posted on social media, you see the way that he talks in some of these lives that he posts, or some of the interviews that, like the vlogs that he would post. Like, he's a very arrogant kid, you know what I'm saying? And he's very confident, but a lot of that confidence exudes into arrogance. So he just has to change his public perception, because I think a lot of people already thought that he was this type of kid just by the way that he moves on social media and the way that he moves in his life. People already thought he was the type of kid. So I think he needs to change his public perception a little bit to be able to get these deals back and show that he can be the type of athlete and the type of spokesperson for the brand that these companies need to either get to bring him back or to get new things. So I think he has a really strong chance to change the perception. It's just depending upon how he moves. What you think?
So I agree with that. The only caveat I'll add to that is, if he's able to keep his nose clean, then he'll have a second opportunity to get those endorsements back. The caveat I'll add is it also depends on how the University of Memphis decides to handle this situation. Because if he's not in school, he can't get these endorsement deals. If he's not playing sports, he won't be able to get these endorsement deals. And if Memphis decides to handle this, how most universities would probably handle a situation like this is, he has a felony charge or some type of charge. And it hurts me to say that, because I don't like to paint kids in a negative light like that. Right. But this is what's on paper right now for him. How most universities decide to handle individuals that attend their colleges that have criminal records, they get rid of them. And if one does it, the others fall in suit. And so if Memphis says, you know what, we don't want him to be a part of our program, then it'll probably be hard for him to get into another, transfer to another university and, resume activity as usual, because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to be seen as the school that's given a kid an opportunity that has been in this amount of trouble, especially with this amount of I can't talk today for whatever reason, publicity behind it. And so I think it really all depends on how the University of Memphis decides to handle this. And I know the coach, Penny Hardaway, for those that are familiar, has been, trying to stay in Mikey's corner, but sometimes it's above your pay grade. It's above what you can do for a kid. So it's really how Memphis, to me, decides to handle this situation. And if they decide to be stern on it, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very much so an uphill battle for him to get those deals back.
Facts. And his defense attorney, Randy Grossman, who was one of Mikey's defense attorneys, said that he actually spoke to Penny, and this is a direct quote from what he said. It says they're still supportive of Mikey. They believe in him, so we'll see. I don't know how they're going to view this now. On one hand, you could say the case is still pending because he hasn't been sentenced. On the other hand, he has pleaded guilty. Maybe they say pleading guilty to a felony disqualifies him, but a misdemeanor they don't have an issue with. So if he completes all of this, the 3 things he has to complete, the counseling, the anger management, the 80 hours of calm serve, then if it's reduced to a misdemeanor, then I don't think Penny has any issue bringing him back. That's just my opinion. But if he doesn't keep his nose clean, doesn't complete the things that he needs to complete, he ain't gonna be nowhere because he gonna go to jail. So it's like Mikey got to keep his nose clean. When it's all said and done, Mikey just got to keep his nose clean and make sure he completes what he needs to complete and get back on the court. Because that's from one athlete to another. That's what I know he really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is a error in judgment that he had. I know he probably feels some type of way about it and wish he never did it. But at the same time, it's like, damn, me as an athlete, I would want to get back on the court. Do what I'm good at, where I'm home at, where I feel safe at. Because I know he has dreams, he has the skill and the personality and the charisma and the knowledge of the game to go to the league. And I know that's what his ultimate goal is, but he's not going to be able to do that without being on the court. So he got to do whatever he can do, whatever he needs to do to get back on that court for sure.
Yeah, and I know we love to, not us specifically, but some in this country love to talk bad about the country. Mm-hmm. But America does love to give you second chances.
Indeed.
Now, they might not give you many chances after that, but they do like to give you second chances. And so I think if he is able to continue his time at the University of Memphis, and he'll get the second chances to resume life as he knew it before this incident happened.
Yeah, I think he get another chance, man. I just hope he keeps his nose clean and moves on from there, learns from it, takes the lesson that is in it. But moving on to the next topic, man. So kids today, man, and it's like, bro, when I saw this, whenever you presented this as a topic, I was like, yo, this kid is something else. So Louisville basketball player, I apologize if I butcher his name, but Tyler Johnson refused to play in a game at Louisville because they didn't have the type of leg sleeve that he felt comfortable playing in. So, D-Lo, my question to you is this a matter of privilege or is this a matter of superstition? What do you think it is?
I think it's a matter of entitlement is what it is, in my opinion. 100%. It's no other way around it. It's 2 ways I feel about this situation. I'll start and respond to your question. I think it's a matter of entitlement because you don't want to play because the team doesn't have a specific leg sleeve that you want. Really?
It sounds crazy saying that, don't it?
Really, bro?
Yeah.
Like, really, that's what you decided to stand on business for today? That's definitely the title. That's definitely the title of the podcast.
For sure.
That's what you decided to stand on business is because you didn't have a leg sleeve. And this is why I always ask the question, do people that play sports nowadays, do they actually love the game? Mm-hmm. Or are they in it because of what it can provide for them or the benefit that they get for it, or the sense of, I don't want to say pride, the sense of specialness or whatever the case is.
Attention.
The attention, there you go. The sense of attention that you get for being a part of something like that. If you're good or whatever, if you're a part of a good team.
Even a part of it, yeah.
Do people actually love to play the game? Because if they didn't have the sleeve that you wanted, you could put on another one at that point in time, played the game as normal, and address that later with the equipment manager. Like, hey, I really like this type of sleeve. Could you see because I believe Louisville is sponsored by Adidas. Can you see if Adidas can provide this for us? Now you got your coach, who I'll get into him in a minute as well. You have your coach possibly looking at you as somebody that he can't count on because you decide to take on pettiness and not play, or didn't want to play because you can't get a leg sleeve or something of the sort. You probably also have your teammates looking at you sideways because they can't count on you. Huh? Yeah,
I know
they
I
can't
would.
count a freshman at that.
Yeah.
Telling us you not gonna play because you don't have a certain leg sleeve. Now I'm sure there are some that's bro, you right about that. We should have this and that. But for those that have invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that program, and probably don't get a chance to play, and you get a chance to play because of your talent, but you're saying that you're not going to play because we don't have a certain equipment, I'm going to look at you like you're crazy. And this is one thing about the NIL era that has been introduced is the entitlement that these kids have. And I want to make it clear, I have been on record in saying I love the fact that kids can take advantage of their name, image, and likeness.
Yes, sir.
But there are some things about this era now that we're living in with the name, image, and likeness that's like, it's being introduced like, it couldn't have been us. It couldn't have been us. So I 100% believe that Tyler, this screams entitlement and spoiled.
It does. It does. That's the first thing I thought. Just reading the headline, whenever you put that topic in our shared note, I was like, "Ain't no way he did this."
Me too. I was like, "This can't be real.
This can't be real." And then I went and researched it, and the coach was like, "You ready for this? Are you ready for this?" He was like,
"Right.
You heard it. We didn't have the tights that he wanted, that we've never had, and he decided." I don't feel I can go. But now let me put a little bit of perspective into this. And I haven't had a groin injury in my playing career. I had hamstring, I had shoulder, had knee. I haven't had groin. I was thankful for that. But from the perspective of the player, if you feel like the reason why I felt like it was a little bit of a superstition, because I had superstitions myself whenever I played ball. I had to put my socks on, left foot, right foot, my cleats on, left foot, right foot. I had to put certain things on in certain ways to make me feel comfortable. It was a superstition thing. It was like, I have to do this in this order to be able to get ready for the game.
It can't be superstition if they never had it and you were attending college, though.
That's the point I was getting to, is that they've never had this piece of equipment for him. They've never had these tights for him. The one that he requested, they never had it. So it can't be the superstition. That's why I posed it that way. But like, could it be a superstition? Could it be like? But push that out of there. It's definitely entitlement and it's definitely privilege, because it's like he didn't play the first half of the game, but then went in and played well in 19 minutes, had 8 points and 9 assists. He's literally the only true point guard that Louisville has. So they literally need him to play as a true freshman. But if you're going to have this entitlement about something so small as a piece of equipment, a dry fit sleeve, bro, like, come on, dog. Because if I was in that locker room, I'm looking at him like, bro, are you serious? I'm one of those vocal guys. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Oh, that's what I would have said. Like, are you serious, bro? Like, you wilding right now, bro. Put the sleeve on and get your ass on the court. Why are you acting like this, bro? Like, stop being stupid. Yeah. I'm one of those guys. Like, I'm the one that's going to verbally hold you accountable. Like, you tripping right now. I'm that dude. But I know it's a lot of his other teammates, and they're probably like, even though they might not say nothing, they're looking at him like, bro, you got to be the most self-entitled dude I've ever seen in my life. And that's how I would look at Buddy. But the coach was candid about it and kind of laughing about it like, yeah, you heard it right. We ain't had a sleeve. We ain't never had it.
And so that's,
you know what I'm saying?
That's the second part. For me, that's the second part of the whole ordeal. Like, coach, really? Do you want to release this information to the media? I just don't see it doesn't, to me, it doesn't scream leadership when you do stuff like this. From the coach.
Okay, got you. Okay.
From the coach. From the
coach.
Because as much as Kim Mulkey, who's Angel Reese's coach, was getting slammed for not really saying much about Angel's situation, which she probably should have given a little bit of information about what's going on. But that's her decision, and she handled it how she handled it, and Angel's back, whatever. And this is not about Angel. But to give a little bit of perspective, she was tight-lipped about what's going on with Angel and why she's not with the team.
For sure.
You went the opposite route. And I feel like you probably should have just kept this within the team, handle it in practice by giving him some type of punishment, not allowing him to play. Listen, You gonna learn one way or another with me. If you don't want to play because we don't have, you're not gonna play. And we gonna handle it in practice, or I'm gonna have a meeting with you outside of after the game to get a better understanding of what's really going on with you, fam. Because like you're not playing because we don't have a sleeve we've never had. And so to me, for him, he lost. Now that this is out, he may have lost respect from the players.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, to me, again, this is to me, doesn't say leadership, because you decided to fight pettiness with pettiness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good, in most cases, that's not a sign of a good leader.
Yeah.
And so for me, really, coach, you wanted to be petty for this. Like you could have handled that a different way. Because not only have you, he probably embarrassed you, but you have now embarrassed him. And we know kids these days can be sensitive. And so he probably, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to react from this. You said he played well in the second half.
He did.
But moving forward, we don't know how he's going to take this situation of this type of information about his actions being released.
But if it's one thing I do agree with you on, is if you decide that you don't want to play because of something like this, you're not going to play. You're not playing. Period.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about this later. I do agree with you in that sense. Where I'm kind of on the fence, I ain't even gonna say on the fence. I think I'm on the other side of the fence with you is that I kind of agree with the coach making an example of Tyler. Like you gonna do something done, and just hear me out.
Go ahead. I was gonna say go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I kind of make it because like I said, if I'm in that locker room, I'm verbally telling you tripping. And then if I hear coach after the game, we won the game, everything's cool. You played good, whatever, everything is cool. And the coach goes into the interview and says, yeah, this is why he ain't played the first half. I'm going to look at coach like, I'm going to go back to Tyler or even the players in the locker room and say, why did he say that? Because he was being dumb. I'm going to be that player because he was being stupid. I don't blame coach for saying that because he needs to understand that this entitlement that you have right now, this privilege that you have right now is unacceptable. And I'm going to let the people know that you being a child, you being childish. And I'm going to tell him to his face, like, yeah, I agree with coach saying it because you were being childish. I don't care how you feel about it. We gonna dap it up. We might squat. We might, you might get mad and you might want to throw fists, but we're going to be brothers at the end of the day. But at the same time, like, yeah, bro, you been wilding. You wilding right now. We need you on this team. We are an integral part of this team. And you acting like a child because we don't have a sleeve. I don't mind coach saying that, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'm not just that type of guy. I'm going to hold you accountable regardless. So I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I understand what D-Lo's saying too, that
it's just other ways I feel like as a coach, you could hold him accountable without leaking this info. I say leaking, that's not a great word, but releasing this information about why he didn't play in the first half to the media, because now you're leaving it up for, again, public speculation of what's really going on with this dude. What else is he done that we may not know about? So he could have handled it in a different way, but that's just my opinion.
Agreed. I can see both sides. I think I'm more on the side of the coach just because of the type of player that I am and the type of leader that I was when I was playing. So it's like, but to be perfectly honest with you, he would, if it was me in that locker room, he wouldn't even have had to say this, because I would have said that in the locker room, like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? And coach would have came on in the interview, like, nah, we handled it. The players handled it in the locker room. I ain't even got to say it. He ain't played for a personal reason, and we're gonna leave it at that. And I would have he would have been able to take the Kim Mulkey approach to it. But I personally don't blame him. But I would have handled that shit in the locker room as a player. Like Tyler, you wildin'. But that's just my opinion.
You tripping.
Well,
speaking of tripping, and speaking of tripping, Adidas, who has been going through a lot the last couple of years, they with it. They was with it yesterday.
They stood on business.
They stood on business yesterday. They stood on business yesterday as their official X, formerly known as Twitter account, calls KD Dusty for his comments about Anthony Edwards' signature shoe. In an interview, KD, who is a Nike lifetime endorsed athlete, was asked if he would ever wear Anthony Edwards' shoe, and KD said, "I wouldn't put a big toe in them," which led to the response that Adidas released on their official. It's now deleted, but released on their official X account. And this also sparked like a war between Nike athletes and Adidas athletes as our boy, we found a way to get him in there. Bron took to his Instagram account, releasing all of the signature shoes that Nike has with him and I believe some other athletes, but it looked like mostly his shoe. So, Six, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
It's funny because they kind of gave KD a taste of his own medicine, low key, because we all know KD as in the past, he's been a very emotional guy. He'll go on his quote unquote burner account and post different things and say stuff. And Adidas calls him Dusty and say, you Dusty about to retire soon anyway. So basically saying it don't matter if you wouldn't wear Anthony Edwards' shoe. Shout out to Anthony Edwards though, because he's coming up and he's got a signature shoe now with Adidas, and he's one of the turning himself into a superstar in the league. So shout out to Anthony Edwards. But then they eventually deleted the tweet calling him Dusty and saying meant to send that from the burner account. Basically giving him a taste of his own medicine, because that's what KD does. So it was in a little bit of there's a little bit of hilarity in this exchange. So I kind of, Adidas shouldn't have said it with all the bullshit they've been going through for the past couple of years and the way their stock is down right now. So they didn't have any leverage to say this, what they said, especially to a Nike side.
So is that why they said it?
Ooh, see, there you go. And
that's the route I was going.
That's the route you was going. That's
the route I was going. Yeah.
I will say that KD funny as hell. So I wouldn't put a big toe in them motherfuckers. But that
motherfucker is long too, boss.
That we can see from the Bucks series from a couple of years ago, right? Yeah, we can see that big toe was on that line, and he didn't. They went to the overtime and opposed to winning that game. But if you want to be real,
got pictures of his feet looking like hockey sticks.
Ooh wee, boy, the feet look worse than his hair.
I'm talking about how long they are with his legs.
That's what I'm saying. His feet look worse than his nappy hair. He don't take care of his feet either, obviously. But sorry, KD, if you ever see this, you still one of the best players in the league.
The length of it has nothing to do with him taking care of it, though. Them mugs are just long and slim.
Lord, I ain't big pause. Hey, yo, just playing. But no, I think it's a lot of hilarity in this. I didn't expect for the amount of Nike athletes to come out, and especially LeBron, but I can see LeBron taking up for his Nike for anybody that shares the court or a business venture with him. I can see LeBron doing that. That's just the type of dude LeBron is. But it's just, to me, it was just funny that Adidas even responded. It's kind of like, you know how they be having Twitter beefs between like McDonald's and Wendy's, and they be going back and forth and how they be saying stuff. I think they're burner accounts, but either way, it's neither here nor there. But it's just it's in the realm of that kind of like. To me, I think it was for publicity. And like you said, I'm going to segue it to you, but they may have been doing this to build a little bit more of an awareness of Adidas again, which is what they've been going through for the past. So talk about it for a second, brother.
Yeah. So I feel like this is definitely a calculated risk that Adidas took, being the fact that they're in the position that they're in now. You have Under Armour passing them in shoe sales. You have their grip on the retail and apparel industry is slipping. I mean, they'll always be behind Nike. Everybody will always be behind Nike. Nike is the juggernaut of the apparel industry. But that fight for number 2, number 3 is very real. And so they have to do something to bring awareness back to the Adidas brand. They have some great signature athletes, Dame, Anthony Edwards, I believe. James Harden is He's an athlete on the football side. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have who is another Adidas athlete? Myles Garrett is a Adidas athlete. So I mean, they have some good athletes, but it doesn't push like Nike does for whatever reason. I mean, I know Nike's been in the game for quite some time. They've had the best of the best athletes out there, namely Michael Jordan, who now has his own brand underneath Nike. But they have to do something to shake up things and to bring attention back to Adidas. And so with KD providing them this alley-oop, it just allows them to, again, take this calculated risk, because if it doesn't work out for them, and if the fans take this approach negatively for them being a type of company that they are to be in a dispute with a athlete. Oh, well, we were already sinking anyway, but
Facts.
because it could catapult him back to number 2. It's like they're taking a chance of being different, standing out and standing up and standing on business for what they believe in, and that's being behind their signature athlete.
Facts. Because, and just to give a little bit more of a idea of who else is Adidas athletes in the NFL, he already mentioned Patrick Mahomes. We got Alvin Kamara, Trevor Lawrence, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tua Tagovailoa. We have those guys, but of course you got the Dame Lillards of the world, the Trae Youngs of the world in the NBA, James Hardens of the world of the NBA. Now you got Anthony Edwards. So they're coming up when it comes to, Donovan Mitchell's another one. Spider's another one that has a signature line. Mm-hmm. Derrick Rose of old had a signature line with those guys too. So he's just following the line, and they got to get their prominence back because they kind of went on a slide once they lost Yeezy, and they haven't really been back on top of it again. So I think this is a way for them to actually get back on top, because Anthony Edwards is ascending to a superstar in the league, 100% ascending to a superstar in the league. So they picked right whenever they picked Anthony Edwards, 100%. And they still got Dame, they still got James Harden, they still got Trae Young, they still got Spider. So you still got some really good players on your roster as far as signature athletes, but you had to expect for Nike guys to come back and, throw blows, because the juggernaut ain't going to take it lightly, especially the employees of the juggernaut. So if you talking about one of their employees, they going to strike back. And I don't blame them for doing that, especially I wouldn't put, if I'm being perfectly honest though, I wouldn't put a big toe on the motherfuckers either. But that's just me. They don't look appealing, to be perfectly honest with you. But, just because I'm a sneakerhead. I got J's in the back, so I wear stuff that's appealing, and I don't, a lot of basketball shoes, other than, well, I can't say that because every shoe in the back behind me is a basketball shoe, technically. But it's just not culturally appealing to me. It's not
dunks
swag.
The dunks are skate shoes.
The dunks are skate shoes, true. But it's just like, shout out to Anthony Edwards, though. And shout out to KD and Adidas for going back and forth. Shout out to Adidas for putting their name back on the map, man. I mess with it all. I'm here for the drama, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for the drama. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for all of it. So let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Yep. That would be on you, my brother.
That was the last topic, my brother.
Oh, we did.
Oh, well, no, you're right. You know what?
I thought you said you wanted to do the Bye Bye Barry.
Well, we can. We definitely will. So there has always been a lot of speculation as to why Barry Sanders retired. Mm-hmm. And they're on Prime TV right now. There is a documentary about Barry Sanders called Bye Bye Barry, which I watched, and it was an amazing documentary. It talked about his family and his dad and him having 10 brothers and sisters, and it went into a deep dive of his life, going into Oklahoma State, winning the Heisman Trophy, and going on to be one of the, arguably, the best running back to ever play in the NFL, arguably. Mm-hmm. And it gave a deep dive into who Barry Sanders actually was. He was a very quiet guy. He didn't want a lot of attention. He didn't want to get any special treatment that his teammates weren't getting. He was just, when he didn't do any celebrations when he scored touchdowns. He just scored a touchdown, gave the ball to the ref, went to the sideline. And he wasn't very flashy. He went out there, and Woody Harrelson was actually in the documentary, and he said that it was like he was an actor from action to cut. That's what you got. He was in scene. But after cut, that's it for him. He said, Woody Harrelson said, I can agree with that because that's the type of guy that I am, because I'm in my element between action and cut. But after that, that's all you getting. So when he had that ball in his hand, it was action. When he got into that pay dirt in that end zone, or when he got tackled, it was cut. So it was like, but he was on that field. He was one of the greatest football players to ever play the game, and there was always a aura around him about why he retired at the prime of his career. And D-Lo, you said you hadn't watched it, but I watched it. I still don't know from the documentary why he did it. But he gave a little bit more of an explanation as to why. And it's because leading up to him retiring, and I know I'm going long, I'm gonna pass it to you in a second, deal on my bad. But
no, it's all good. I didn't watch it, so it's on you anyway.
So leading up to being in his 10th year of the league, but leading up to that 10th year, they went into a unneeded rebuilding stage. They gave away 3 of his offensive linemen. They traded away a couple of defensive backs, traded away a couple of receivers. So they all they had was Barry. And they were trying to rebuild around Barry, which is cool. But they were coming off a really good stretch of going to the playoffs, getting to an NFC championship, doing very, very well with the core that they had. And when they were explaining everything, they were like, a lot of guys just became victim of the salary cap, and they let guys go. And they tried to rebuild around Barry, but it got to a point where they had 2 or 3 years within that rebuild that Barry was like, they gave away a lot of my friends. They gave away a lot of the corporate guys on the team. They gave away a lot of people who I was very close with that made this team go. And to have guys come in to replace them that either weren't as good or I didn't have that same kind of chemistry with was hard to deal with. And I can understand that. And he was literally 1,400 yards away from breaking Walter Payton's record, about to be the number 1 rusher in the history of the NFL, and retired. And a lot of people didn't know why he did it. And the crazy thing about him retiring is that he went to London and sent a fax that he was retiring under the name B. Abernathy. Not Barry Sanders, B. Abernathy. And he went to London for 2 days, sent the fax, and he was done with the game. And it was such a shock to not just Detroit, which a lot of Detroit people say that him retiring was worse than a lot of Lions fans would say his retirement was worse than the decision that LeBron did, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of guys do say that. But it's like he left a lot of those guys. Eminem was in it, and he said, dude, literal tears and betrayal. It's like that's what I felt, was sadness and betrayal. And he finally came. He's back in Detroit, and he still lives in Detroit, and he does a lot of things in the community, and he apologizes all the time to the fans. But he just said it was just something that he couldn't deal with, and he wasn't feeling the love of the game anymore. It was kind of like Michael Jordan, like he just wasn't feeling like he had anything else to accomplish. He didn't feel like he was loving what he was doing anymore, so he left and did something that he felt like he was in love with, which is baseball, but then came back to the game because he actually felt like he loved the game. Barry was like, I'm standing on business. I'm leaving. I ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? So it was such a great documentary, from his rookie year to going over 1,000 yards for 10 straight seasons, from rookie year to year 10 when he retired, to going over 2,000 yards for the first time, 2,053 yards, to literally getting a season 1,400 yards away from passing Walter Payton. And it was a great timeline of how he was brought up to how he is now, having 4 sons and them trying to build his legacy as well. It's just like, it was great, man. And it's something that I think you should watch. And that's something I think the audience should actually watch too, if you have Prime TV, if you are a sports fan, to say, if you have questions about why he retired, it didn't really answer it, to be perfectly honest. But at the same time, it was good because it gave you an insight as to why he felt he couldn't play the game anymore. And he just said it was something that he just couldn't deal with. So I think it was great. Yeah. I think it was great.
Yeah, I mean, not seeing it, I can't say much, but based off of your synopsis of the video of the documentary, I feel like we as fans, or fans that have not been a part of high caliber sports, most of us, most Americans have been a part of some type of sports, whether that's high school, little league, something, I'm sure. And so for us that have been a part of high caliber sports, we kind of get it when, we still question it, but we kind of get it sometimes when a person decides that to do the things they do within the sport, whether that's retire, move on to another team, whatever the case may be. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that have not been, they take these type of things to heart because they put these individuals on pedestals.
100%.
And so when you put somebody on a pedestal and then they no longer are a part of the team that you celebrate, that you worship, it's like they are portraying you individually, and that's not the case. They're making the decision that's best for them. And again, we don't know the real reason why Barry decided to retire. I was always under the assumption of what you mentioned earlier on is like they were going through unnecessary rebuilds and trading a lot of his friends,
for sure,
who he probably considers family, or just trading away valuable pieces that could help them get over that hump. Because Barry was a no nonsense guy. He was a guy that was all about winning, and he might have been the centerpiece, but the centerpiece also needs to be surrounded by other pieces in order to be successful. And I'm sure Barry understands that. And so I will watch the documentary just to get another perspective. It sounds kind of like it took the storyline somewhat of A Football Life from the NFL Network that they did on Barry Sanders.
Somewhat.
But I definitely would watch it because I love Barry Sanders. Was one of my favorite players growing up, and I actually was a fan of the Detroit Lions just because of him. And then when he left, I didn't pick up another team. So yeah, I definitely will watch it, and I'm glad you brought it up as a topic because the fans probably should take a look at it as well.
For sure. And it's crazy you say that because growing up, I was a fan of Barry Sanders too, because dude's change of direction, his speed, his
unmatched
agility has never been seen before. Never been seen before
unmatched.
Or after. Even now, you don't even see guys with the same change of direction, speed, agility, spin move, stiff arm. The way he just slithered, bro, he was amazing. And it's crazy that I say that. I was a fan of Barry Sanders because arguably the best running back to ever play football played for the Cowboys in Emmitt Smith. So, and they both got drafted. I think they both got drafted in the same draft.
I think Barry came out the year before Emmitt.
The year before? Okay. So Emmitt,
I think I'll look it up.
Yeah, look at it real quick. But my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, had arguably the best running back in the history of NFL as well, because even Emmitt was in the documentary saying that he was surprised that Barry retired because that was a guy that could have rushed for 25,000 yards and shattered the record. So
Barry came out in 89. Emmitt came out in 90.
Emmitt came out in 90. Okay, bet. Because I just from watching the documentary, I knew Barry came out in 89. I thought they came out the same season, but that was Aikman that came out in 89 with Barry. So, but it's just crazy, man, because he was such a good player, bro. He was such a good player, and to just leave the game without warning, without explanation. And but everybody in the documentary was saying, like, if you knew Barry, you knew he didn't want that attention. You knew he won't going to have no press conference. You knew he won't go and stand out in front of the community and say, this is what's going on. You knew he won't going to do that. So why everybody is surprised that he took the route that he did to retire, you shouldn't. It's crazy because you shouldn't be. Because from high school all the way up to the NFL, he was never that guy that wanted that kind of attention. He didn't even want to win the Heisman Trophy. He was in Japan at a football game that Oklahoma State had scheduled because they didn't think anybody on the team was going to be around for the Heisman. But he came out of nowhere his junior year, and he was literally on camera like this. And when he won it, he was like, because he was like, I hope he literally said, I hope somebody else win it because I don't want that attention. He didn't care. He didn't care for individual accolades. He was, like D-Lo said, he was no nonsense. He was about the team winning. He was about team success, as opposed to his own individual success. And that was very admirable of Barry. And that's what made him even more great than he was on the field, is because his off the field character just shined so much because he was so much about just the team itself. So I think everybody here should definitely check it out. If you are a sports fan, if you are a football fan, definitely go look at it because it is definitely a great watch. And if you have any questions as to why he retired, you ain't gonna get it out of this. Because I still am like, I understand more as to why, but he didn't necessarily give a reason, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
the frustration was definitely there. And if the frustration mounts up too much and it starts to boil over, I can understand why you would want to walk away from a situation. So that's what I got from it. But it didn't give a clear, concise reason. This is why. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was definitely a good timeline in the documentary. I think it was great.
Episode 46.
46 in the books. Hey, bars, my boy. You know,
hey, stop with it, my boy. Your lady gonna get on us again.
Oh man, there we go.
yeah.
What you say you was gonna start saying?
Gangy or something. I don't know. So we can feel young. So we can feel young.
We're not saying gangy, dog.
What's up, gang?
But we will say standing on business, though. We will say that.
Yeah,
we will stand on business.
Or we can go to KG route. We can go to KG route. Lord, we gotta get this, Lord.
We gotta get the Lord. We gotta get that, Lord. Yeah, that KG is a different type of cat, bro.
KG funny, man.
He's hilarious, KG. Bro.
Yeah, but anyway, we want to thank you all for tuning in to Too Complex. Remember that life is short and oftentimes complex. But when times become too complex, don't be afraid to lean on those that you love to help you find simplicity and balance in life. Stay prayed up in this crazy world. A few requests thrown above can return you peace and sanity. Thanks for loving us and supporting this podcast. It means the world to us. We're sending our love right back. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen to and follow us on all of the social media platforms as well. YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Yes, and as always, if it ain't too complex, it ain't complex at all. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you. Salute.